Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. It's Wednesday, April the 3rd. Ian Cameron, and it is Connor Mack, my longtime co-host, line mate at Pub Sports Radio for various shows, joining me. This feels like the old days when we did MLB closing time because we're going to start talking MLB baseball on this show. C-Mac, we're going to jump right into it because we got a bunch of games that are just starting now. Cleveland, Seattle, Cincinnati, Philly, St. Louis, San Diego. They're all about to begin. I'm just going to go rapid fire. I went with a first half full game split with Seattle. I'm a big fan of George Kirby. I think he's going to have a very good season. I like that this is a bounce back spot for the Mariners after getting shut down by Bieber and the Guardians last night. So I took Seattle there with a first five full game split. I don't have a lot with Cincinnati and Philadelphia, Montas and Wheeler. I think it's definitely advantage Phillies and Wheeler on the mound, but not at that price. So I passed on that game. And I'm all over a bunch of things with St. Louis, San Diego. I like Cardinals team total over. I like full game over 8.5 there, Cardinals and Padres. I don't think Joe Musgrove is right at the beginning of the season. I did not like what I saw in that first start. I don't know if he's fully healthy, but he did not look good in that first start. I think the Cardinals could probably do some offensive damage in that game. But on the flip side, I'm not a big fan of Zach Thompson. And I know he faced the Dodgers, which is a murderer's row right now, but he didn't pitch well in that game. I don't think he was all that great last season up and down, so I'm not a big Thompson guy for St. Louis. So I think you're going to see some runs scored in that game, Cardinals and Padres. So I have Cardinals team total over and full game over there. C-Mac, those three games that are just kicking off, anything you like?
Sorry, I was getting everything in here. I have a couple props in these games. I had a little bit with the D-backs. They're up one. That game just started. Cleveland, Seattle. I'd be on Cleveland here, the other side. I'm a big Kirby fan too. Bobano. He's kind of up and down, and let's see if he can take the next step. Obviously to more innings this year. Sometimes he just looks so good, and other times he looks kind of just average.
Yep.
But I think he does got great stuff. And the Mariners, I just think to start the year and even here, they're just been a little bit overpriced, even at home. So I lean Cleveland there. I didn't bet it, but I did take Jose Ramirez. Took his RBI. It's just too high, some of these numbers. He's only 2 for 3 off him, but his RBI was plus 170, 165, sorry, for the ribby. And I took a little on his homers, plus 650. The number just shouldn't be like that, and a lot of days they're not. But, it's like Mookie Betts. Last night, they can't have his home run at that. Now it's back down to earth today. But when he owns Webb and even, and he's not the same pitcher on the road, if you know how to bet, totally different guy. So just ton of value that I had to take. So I'm on that. And I agree with you. I'm on Goldschmidt here. I'm over his over 1.5 bases. I think he can get it done. Good numbers. Obviously, Musgrove, something's wrong with him. I just think he's still hurt from last year. There's something with the shoulder that was bothering him. He didn't look good in the spring. He's trying to get through it. Maybe that doesn't work out. This is a big start for him. Can he have a good 5-6 innings? But that's another price with San Diego that they need to win desperately. But this number is crazy. I don't mind your bet there. I was looking at the Cardinals team total. I didn't take it. I just have the Goldie prop there.
All right, there we go. Those are the games that are just about to start. It's been a good start in MLB today. I had Angels Marlins over early in the day. Two bad bullpens. I think two lineups that are a little bit better, and I didn't trust either pitcher. Get the puck out of here with A.J. Puck for Miami. Not someone I trusted, obviously, starting in that game, and it flew over the total. It's been a good start. I'm on Mini in the over against the Brewers, and that's looking like it's in good shape. I'm not a big Joe Ross guy. At all, and it's sure enough, the Twins are doing some damage in that game. And I'm with Connor Mack. Connor Mack mentioned Arizona just a little bit ago. I'm on a first 5 full game split with the Diamondbacks in that game against my guy Merrill Kelly. How can I not? I'm a big fan going back years with this guy, especially at homes. And I don't trust Rodon either for the New York Yankees. So both you and I are on Arizona there in that game, and they are up 1-0, so a good start there. All right, the rest of the games are night games, so we'll go in order of start time. We'll start at 6:45 Eastern. It's Pittsburgh and Washington. Mitch Keller, and I know in Jimmy the Bag with his show, I'm betting with the bag. We always joke that pitching like Helen Keller lately when he's not pitching well, and that's especially the true with Brad Keller, the other guy from Kansas City. But Mitch Keller minus 140 road favorite here, 9 the total in this game. I mean, Pittsburgh, what a start! I mean, and look, I actually have Pittsburgh Pirates over season win totals for the Dub Club members. You guys know that sent it out as part of the futures package, futures and season win total for the season. One of them was Pittsburgh Pirates over wins. It was very low. I thought they could, don't forget they had a red hot start last season before things fell apart for them. Maybe it's going to be the same this year, but they're off to this great start. Now, the schedule has been very light for Pittsburgh. You played a horrendous Miami team, and you're playing a pretty bad Washington team now. So let's not act like you're beating the Dodgers or you're beating the Astros or you're beating good teams here, but they are off to a good start. I could only look at the Pirates. I don't step in front of teams that are in winning streaks like they are. But minus 140 on the road with Mitch Keller, I do think I have to pump the brakes there a little bit. As much as Pittsburgh's been playing well, I'm not ready to lay this kind of a price. I think there could be some runs in this game. 8.5, 9, I'd lean over, but nothing overly strong for me with this matchup. What do you think here, C-Mac? Pirates, Nats.
Yeah, what do we get from Keller? Last year he was so good, especially early, kind of as the bumpy start in the first start. I think he could be better. I don't know if this game goes. There's a lot of rain in this one. I think it's 50-50. We've already had a few
Same
games.
weather system that wiped out the Tigers and the Mets again, which has already been postponed. Yep.
Bingo. So I don't know if this goes in this one. Trevor Williams, I've been able to pick him up in spots, actually make money with him, even though he's not very good, but at times can be an innings eater. And he's looking to get more starts this year. Then kind of he came in the last year and got a bunch of starts there. One thing and the Nats, Bobano, whether it's the last few years, their team total or just getting on there kind of after the All-Star break, winning games, and their team total too last year. One of the most profitable teams for me were the Nats, but I've just pumped the brakes early. Obviously, they haven't come out great, but early to the year, they're not going to be great. Newsflash here, guys. But I think the lineup is okay. With a few of these guys, I'll be on their props. If the game goes, I do have a prop in this one. I think even with Pittsburgh and Keller, I think there's a little value with the Nats, but nothing I wanted to jump on today. But I took Reynolds here. I got in the 2-hole. He's just been hot to start. 8 RBIs. He just keeps hitting the ball well. He's got 2 for 5 short numbers here versus Trevor Williams. So I had a small RBI prop with him here, plus 155.
Yeah, you're right. The weather, we'll see if this game goes. I think all things created equal. I did have interest in the over here. I mean, both teams are, the combined record is 9-0 to the over for these teams.
Yeah,
so
these
far.
Games have gone over. Yeah.
They're hitting and their bullpens aren't. Washington's bullpen is freaking atrocious.
Horrible. You know what? That's good thing you brought that up, Emmanuel. They're awful. Yeah. That was another thing I took last year. Only first 5. They cannot be bet full game, and even right now,
no way. Yeah.
Yeah, but they just blow it. The unders, you can't look at that full game. You'd only look first 5, but they just coughed it up so often. And I've even noticed they had a lead here going back a few games, and they blew it. It's classic in the 8th and 9th. So that was one that you start to go, and it looks like it's going to be similar. Maybe just that big money spot first 5 to get the first 3 even. If there's a few more books you can get that now where you can bet first 3 and try to find it. But that's where I'm going to be looking to catch big prices with the Nats this year.
No doubt. I think we're at the point, too, because starters barely go more than 5 innings now compared to what it once was. Yeah, first 3 innings. If you really think starting pitchers are going to, throw down and pitch well, then definitely first 3. I mean, then you really isolate it even better. And you're right, the first 3 market, I think, is even better now than the first 5's been the standard, but first 3 these days might even be safer, if you're going to target the starting pitchers, no question. When it comes to unders and pitching well out of the gate. All right, next up, we've got the Colorado Rockies taking on the Chicago Cubs. Luke Little, the lefty for the Cubs, and Cal Quantrill for the Colorado Rockies. Reclamation project for sure. The Cubs minus 190, home favorites. 7 is the total here, shaded to the over. in this game. Obviously, you know, with this time of year, especially any time outdoors, you've got to look at weather situations. But it looks like here at Wrigley tonight, chance of rain. We'll see. If it gets wiped out. So keep an eye on this. But I think the game might proceed. I mean, the thing that I've been betting here, especially against this Colorado team, and this goes with Colorado going back to the first series against Arizona. I've been betting over team total against Colorado over and over again repeatedly. And I think that's the approach here. Take it out. Why lay minus 190 when you can take a nice over 4.5 here, or with the Cubs at plus money, or you could go over 3.5 at minus 150. Even that's a better price than minus 200 with the Chicago Cubs with their money line. If the Cubs are going to win this game, which we think they should, Colorado's just I don't like them on the road. They've never been any good on the road. I don't trust Cal Quantrill either for the Colorado Rockies. We saw in his first start, struggles for him. He went 5 innings in that game. He gave up 5 runs, 9 hits, 2 home runs against the Diamondbacks in that first start. He obviously had a disappointing run with Cleveland last year. I don't trust him at all. And the one thing the Cubs have, I think this year's a pretty decent lineup. So for me, we'll see if this game gets impeded by weather. But if it doesn't, Cubs team total's the clear choice for me. You could go over 3.5 minus 150, or you could go over 4.5 at a plus price, depending on which you choose. Both options are better than laying minus 200 with Chicago on the money line. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, until we get some runs, the weather isn't great here, and that wind blowing kind of straight in. But the pitching is so awful, like you mentioned. The Rockies, no touch for me. You mentioned on the road, no way till they get back home and we catch them maybe as big home dogs. The summer gets going. That's where I'll look for them because they will win games there. It's just where they win and they just get slaughtered on the road. Quantrill, you mentioned a guy that was, Cleveland the last few years, 21, 22. I mean, he was 15-5. He had some solid stuff. He had the injury. Yeah, and it lingered. He wasn't very good last year, just going 4-7. He got tattooed. I had Walker home run there right away in that last start. He could be better. The Cubs I love their lineup. And, it's tough to see Steele's going to be out a little while. The pitching they don't have, and that's what they're going to do here. Kind of a bullpen game. It's just through the Rocky scoring runs. I don't know if you can trust it. So maybe you're good there. Just even with the weather, the wind blowing in, the Cubbies could get 4 or 5 runs here and cash that for you. Because you got to think, can the Rockies get it, because later on, like Jones, McMahon, Chris Bryant's healthy for now. We'll see how long that lasts. They will hit at home. But for now on the road, it's just been a rough start.
The weather hasn't been great the first 2 games of this Rockies.
No, yeah.
And they still got 5 runs in one game, 12 in the other. The Chicago Cubs. So I still feel good. We can get at least 4. I'm going the safer route. I'm going with the minus 150 at over 3.5. If you want to lay less juice, you can get like over 4.5 at like plus 110, plus 120. But I think they can do it. They can get 4 against this is an abominably bad pitching staff, starting and bullpen, when it comes to the Colorado Rockies for sure. All right, Toronto and Houston. Jays and what a job by the Jays. They looked like they were going to go 2 straight games getting shut out by the Houston Astros, and Davis Schneider rescues them with a 2-run home run in the 9th inning last night to beat the Astros 2-1. Chris Bassett for them, Christian Javier for Houston here. Astros minus 145, home favorites, 8.5 the total. I actually think I would lean Houston a little bit. Bassett didn't pitch great against Tampa, although he got in trouble 1 inning. He was pitching well. He got in trouble in 1 inning, and he gave up a grand slam, and that was the difference. But that's all it takes is 1 bad inning. We'll see if he can bounce back here. Javier at home, sometimes he can be very capable. And let's be honest with the Blue Jays lineup. They are a 2-run home run from Davis Schneider last night away from getting shut out, in back-to-back games by this Houston Astros pitching staff. And it's been all or nothing for the Jays. I mean, 1 game they score 9, then they get shut down. They score 8, they get shut down. And now they've been shut down in back-to-back games. And they did win last night, but that's only because Barrios pitched great. Bullpen shut it down. And they got the clutch 2-run knock at the end when they needed it. So it's not like the Jays offense is firing on all cylinders right here. This is not one where I was interested in the over. In fact, I would lean under in this game with the Jays and the Astros, and I would lean Houston. But I don't love the game overall. What do you think here, C-Mac, Jays and Astros?
Yeah, I didn't love this game too. Just kind of too many question marks. I just was kicking myself the day before. I thought the Astros would score a ton, their team total, and they scored 10 runs. I'm like, and I wanted to lay off yesterday. I did have the Tucker prop just because he's swinging the bat well early, and I still don't mind it there. Even Jordan, he's got, he's 5 for 15, 4 homers. Obviously, the homer prop, you might as well take. I get, his RBI is plus 125, but the homer's only 250. But seeing a guy he likes here in Bassett with 4 homers, he could go yard today. And some other guys have some decent numbers. Bassett's just the classic. He's an innings eater. He's going to be good for this Jays staff. Go 5-6 innings. But yeah, both lineups can't be trusted. I can't take an over with them. Javier looked good in the first start, but he can implode at times. Bobano, you see the very good with him and the bad, the walks, that whole deal. So 2 teams, yeah, I do not want to bet at all. So this was a pass for me. I'm tempted by the Jays, kind of as a dog, but I stayed off in the end.
All right, next up, this is the last game. Like I said, it's a short card for us to break down today because many of the games were day games. But San Francisco Giants, LA Dodgers. We've got in this matchup, it's Kyle Harrison, the lefty for San Francisco. Tyler Glasnow, one of the big offseason acquisitions for the LA Dodgers. Well, they got him via trade. Dodgers in this one, minus, big favorite, of course, 240, 8.5 the total. I mean, for me, it's wash, rinse, repeat. Dodgers have scored 5 in every game, minimum. And I still get their team total at 4.5, minus 130. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For me, it's Dodgers over 4.5. I'm not a big Harrison fan. Didn't pitch particularly well in his first start against San Diego over the weekend. And Dodgers, years ago, I remember when they'd face a lefty, I'm like, Dodgers sometimes have those issues with lefties. Not so much anymore. I think those days are behind them. They can hit lefties now pretty effectively compared to years past. So I don't think that's an issue anymore. To me, that's the clear choice in this game. This is a team that's just mashing the ball. Mookie Betts is on a ridiculous run to begin the year. Freddie Freeman's bopping it pretty well right now. Ohtani's actually been the one that's been a little slow out of the gate, but wait till he gets going.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, no doubt. But Freeman,
maybe he's looking at the lines.
Yeah, maybe. But Freeman and Mookie in particular, gosh, those two, they are really killing. I think over 1.5 total bases. I've been on those multiple times. Freeman and Mookie, both of them. I think it's worth a look again here. I love Dodgers team total over 4.5. Who am I to think to otherwise? I mean, they've scored 7, 6, 5, 5, 8, and 5. The Dodgers. I'm throwing out the games in South Korea against San Diego. I'm talking about the North American start to the season starting last week. The Dodgers have scored 5 runs in every single game, at least 5 runs, over 4.5 for me. I'd probably tack on a little to the full game over here because I don't know. Glasnow's a strikeout guy. He was obviously very good in his first start against St. Louis. Don't get me wrong. 1 run, 2 hits, 6 innings. He still can be home run prone, though. He can give up the long ball at times, Glasnow. And the Giants do have some power bats like Soler and others right now in this lineup. So I think Glasnow might give up a couple here. And obviously the Dodgers get theirs. So whenever I see a Dodger game, take advantage now. The Dodgers offense if they're going to level off a little bit at some point, but if they stay close to their season average, you're not going to get 8s and 8.5s at Dodger Stadium for full game totals with the Dodgers for much longer. So jump on it now while the team totals and while the full game overs are this low for Dodgers games. Because if this keeps up, it's not going to last for too much longer. Like even the full game overs with the Dodgers, we've seen it go 4-0-1 to the over in the last 5 games. The only under was an 8-run game. It barely stayed under. And you're talking 8.5 with this total tonight. So, yeah, that's for me. Dodgers team total over and full game over. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, the 4 or 5 run inning is just around the corner with this lineup, especially the top. And you mentioned hitting the lefty here with Harrison. He's not very good. I think he's going to be all right. He's got to work out of jams a lot of the time. And like you said, both Hernandez should be in. Will Smith hits lefties well. I don't think it's that big of a problem with this lineup, too, the whole lefty. And we'll see as the year goes on, but I think it'll be fine. Yeah, it's just nuts. The full game, too, because, there won't be a ton of 8.5s. And they're going to have a game or two, or of course, it's baseball, especially long season, but it's just the 4.5 is insane. Bobano, I just couldn't believe that they weren't hanging 5.5s on the team total, because it's going to start to happen. And like last night was just at plus money, plus 105. They were out there at 4.5. It was just crazy. I mean, it got there quick, leveled off, but did they? I think they got in the fifth inning. But it's just, to me, like, there's going to be 5.5s really the rest of the way. Like, I mean, I don't know how much longer, even with this juice like today. I think it's just keep riding it. I think they get 5 off Harrison tonight. And you talked about it. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman just have been killing it for me. I mean, Mookie with the big homer yesterday at his over 1.5. Freddie Freeman RBI. The price a little down here. This is where it should be Mookie Betts for his homer, how hot he is. But I got to take a piece of Freddie Freeman. The RBI is plus 140. We'll get to the dinger segment here in a second, but his jack plus 425. I got to have a piece of it.
Yeah, you know what? We'll do the dinger segment, I think, right now, because we'll do best bet at the end. We'll do the NBA and the MLB best bet at the end of the show. So we'll do the jack of the day right now. For me, I'm just going to keep it simple, Connor Mack. It's not the greatest value, but it's something I've bet a lot this season. Mookie Betts. That's what I'm going to go with. Keeping it simple. Not overthinking it. He's been obviously smashing and crushing the baseball early in the season. Multiple games with a home run as well for this Dodgers team. And again, the price is starting to adjust a little bit. You can still get plus 290 though at BetMGM with the home run prop. So Mookie Betts plus 290 for my jack of the day. How about you, C-Mac?
Yeah, we've already hit them on a few. We got to the games that kind of just went off. But I just said it, Freddie Freeman plus 425. Gotta take it. I think you go deep. One other one. I'm really not on it. This Astros team. I wait till he gets hot. This happened last year. He was kind of cold early on, but the price is too big for me here. The numbers are solid. Bregman 8 for 22, 3 doubles, a homer, plus 650. Put a little on Bregman. Those are just my 2 in the late games. I think he could go deep here tonight.
There we go. Yeah, we appreciate it. I see familiar names: Neil, Goldju, Ray. The dynamic duo is back. Yes, we are, as much as we possibly can be. Mondays and Wednesdays. That's going to be the schedule moving forward. Might even expand it, later on once we get past like NBA, because I still have to do NBA stuff with Ski Profit, with Wham, and with Dutch Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's why I'm Tuesday. Yeah, so that's why I'm only on Fridays. That's my errands day. That's the day I go out and do my shopping and all that bullshit that I need to get done. So
Friday, baby.
That's Friday. So Fridays I don't do a 4 p.m. show. So it's Mondays and Wednesdays, and we might expand it once we get past NBA. Speaking of NBA, it's time to switch the background because it's time to talk NBA. There we go. National Basketball Association time. All right. We got the Lakers and the Wizards. Lakers 12.5-point road favorites, 235 the total in this one. Lakers, it's a weird team to consider here with this big road favorite price. Now, obviously, against an undermanned Raptors team, they won and covered last night, 128-111. But, it's not a team I trust night in and night out as big road favorites. It's the end of a road trip, too, for the Lakers. If you think about it, they're 4-1 on the road trip. They've won 2 in a row against bad teams, Brooklyn and Toronto. We'll see how they fare here tonight against Washington. But this Wizards team stunned everybody last night because it's back-to-back for both teams. Wizards beating the Bucks last night, if you can believe it. 117-113, winning outright as 12.5-point dogs. I said it on the show with Ski, Dutch, and Wham yesterday. For me, if I'm betting that side, it's Washington because I don't trust the Bucks as double-digit favorites in this spot. I didn't think they'd lose the damn game outright, but my goodness, what a terrible performance by the Bucks. I lean Washington here a little bit, plus 12.5. End of a long road trip for the Lakers. They get back home. They play Cleveland after this. I definitely think it's a situation here where we could definitely see definitely some points here in this game as well, rather, over the total. Last time they played in L.A., I think we got to like 249 or 250 points before it even got to overtime. Like, it was a shit ton of points. The Lakers don't play the consistent 48-minute defense, especially on the road. So, and we saw that last night. I was on the Lakers-Raptors over, and it got there last night. So, for me, I'd lean Wizards double-digit home dog and over the total 234 in this one. C-Mac, what do you think here, Lakers and Wizards?
Yeah, I mean, who's going to play here tonight as a wait? Do one or both sit with LeBron? We should know it soon.
Yeah.
I've kind of been sitting here waiting on it because you talked about last game heading on the road here for the Lakers. Playing good. I think they win here. I do
I think he
not.
will sit. I think if you like Washington, bet it now because it'll go down if he's ruled out.
Yeah, I think you bet Washington too. I'm leaning. I haven't bet it yet. We'll get to the Bucks even at home in a little bit with them. But I think you go to a prop here with. I want to see LeBron out. Hachimura. I'm going to jump on his prop. I think his points should be right around 14. Bobano. And he had that. Just I think in the last game or the last time they played Washington. I can't remember, but he's got significant minutes. LeBron or AD's out, and he'll be starting. So I'm going to zero in on that in this game and lean the Wiz.
Yeah.
Now we got to wait on them. Like Kuzma, he's probable. I think he plays. He's been dealing with a heel and a few other the Wizards. So look out for that too here in the next hour or two.
Yeah, you have to look out for everything when it comes to
it's right now.
injuries.
It's just crazy.
All year it's bad, but it's this year in particular, down this part of the season in particular, down the stretch with the regular season winding down. I mean, it's just a laundry list of players on the injury reports nightly. Just like this next game. Like, who the hell's suiting up for Charlotte tonight against Portland? We've got Charlotte 1-point home favorites, 211.5 the total in this game. Charlotte looks like tonight Brandon Miller's a game-time decision. Grant Williams a game-time decision, although it looks like both will play. Likely to play, both of them have been upgraded. So it looks like consider them both in, Brandon Miller and Grant Williams. But Bridges is a game-time decision, unlikely to play with a wrist injury for Charlotte. Nick Richards and Mark Williams are both out for them. So it looks like we're going to see Trey Mann, Bryce McGowan's, Brandon Miller, Davis Bertans, and Grant Williams as the starting five here tonight for the Charlotte Hornets. And of course, we're not going to see LaMelo Ball, of course, again, anytime soon. And then for Portland, you look at the situation there. Thibault, Simons, Shaden Sharp, Malcolm Brogdon out, and Jeremy Grant. See, I would consider playing Portland here if Jeremy Grant was in, but now he's listed as doubtful with a hamstring injury. And Jeremy Grant at times has been their one lone source of offense consistently. So a lot out of the lineup. Probably an ugly game under lean for me at 212. But I want nothing to do with a side here. Too many missing pieces. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, they played that low-score game last month. That was just crazy, 93-80. Old school basketball game.
Might be the same here. Like, who the fuck's going to score tonight with these two starting five lineups I see?
Yeah. I lean under. I like it in this game. It's tough right now betting on these teams. And you mentioned both sides. The injury report is just crazy in this one. And to even, you're not laying anything. It's just a point or whatever. But just the Charlotte to win sounds crazy. But I think that's the side here. Bobano, in this game. It's tough to trust them, but Bridges, they get Miller. I know their props have kind of gone up, but I think they're the look here at home. Charlotte in the under.
Yeah, you got to bet someone. For me, it's the lesser of two evils, and at least you get them the home team. I mean, 8 wins on the road for the Portland Trailblazers, although only 10 wins at home for Charlotte. And that's not much better. So that tells you all you need to know about how tricky this game is. Detroit and Atlanta. Atlanta Hawks, 12-point home favorites, 225 being the total in this game. I actually took Atlanta in their last game against Chicago. Chicago is one of those teams. They don't consistently, play great 2 games in a row. They're off a win. They don't usually play well again, and Atlanta took advantage. And Atlanta was off a tough loss to Milwaukee. They're actually playing good ball. And I actually thought Atlanta, once Trae Young went out, and DeJounte Murray, because, look, these are 2 guys that want the ball in their hands.
Oh, yeah.
DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. And now with Trae Young out, it's DeJounte's team in the backcourt at the point guard spot. And he's thriving in it. The team's thriving. They look more fluid offensively, believe it or not, without Trae Young right now. They look like, because now nobody's worried about who's going to make the big play, take the big shot. DeJounte's been doing that. I think it's led to just a lot more fluidity here with Atlanta right now. And this is not that Trae Young's a bad player. It's just the dynamic of him and DeJounte Murray together has been a misfit from the very beginning. That, to me, with this Atlanta team. And to me, it's just very simple that when you take one of those guys out, it feels like there's more chemistry. I'd probably feel the same way, C-Mac, if it was the reverse. If Trae Young was in and DeJounte Murray was out. you'd probably still see
Yeah.
more chemistry. It's just you can't have both guys. I think, trying to work together. It hasn't been a great fit, and it's not surprising to see Atlanta play well with one of them out. And that's exactly what we have seen right now. So, yeah, I've been riding Atlanta. I do think they're a bet on team right now, but now you're talking about 11-point favorite in this game against a Detroit Pistons team that, yeah, they're dreadful, 13-62, only 6-30 straight up on the road. But, we've actually seen them in their last two road games at Minnesota. They covered as a huge dog. They won outright at Washington, albeit not a very good team. And when you look at Atlanta's schedule, big win, well, not big win, but a win against Chicago. You're back home again here tonight against a lowly Detroit team, and you're playing tomorrow night on the road against Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks on Thursday night. So it's not a spot where I want to lay double digits when I see an Atlanta team playing a lesser foe, a team that sometimes plays down to competition, and you play at Dallas tomorrow night. That's the bigger game. This might be a hold your nose, take the dog, ugly spot here, maybe with Detroit. What do you think here, C-Mac?
There's a few of these, but man, one thing I haven't liked lately, all year long, I wanted the Pistons a little more at home as a dog, is they've just been awful on the road. Now, they played some good teams, Boston, Minnesota, New York. The other one was the Wizards. They did win that game, 96-87. But they've been hard to trust, but there's no way, as well as the Hawks have been playing. You mentioned the big game tomorrow. And we get it here with the pace of these two teams. Hawks playing better, maybe, and you mentioned the fluidity of the offense, everything. They just look better, not placing kind of crazy overs. So their games are going over, and the line's more in this 220 range or even low 230s when they played someone else. But 8-2 still did the over, even though they've been a little bit slower. And the Pistons on the other side, we know them, a slow type team. I look to a prop in this game, Bobano. Bogdanovich. He's been excelling this. He's going to play 35 minutes and get those shots up. His over points tonight, 18.5. He's hit this in 4 of 5. I think he gets it tonight. I think he gets at least 20. So he's a prop I have tonight in this game.
All right, there we go. I like the over a little bit too here. Atlanta at home has been an over machine lately. They've gone over in 5 straight home games coming into this game tonight. And if you look at head-to-head as well, Atlanta and Detroit, November and December, you saw 246 and 254 total points in those two games. So I think the over is in play here. And I agree with the move up, 222 to 224.5 with the total here. Memphis and Milwaukee. Milwaukee 12-point home favorites, 218 the total in this game. Obviously, this is back-to-back for the Bucks. Just an absolutely pathetic loss last night to Washington. And look, I leaned Washington, but at the same time, I did not expect them to lose outright in that game. Now you're back-to-back on the road. You're facing another kind of a lowly Memphis team, but Memphis does have the rest advantage here. They did not play last night, so they were a little bit fresher. I'll be honest, I lean Grizzlies. Even in a bounce-back spot, I'm not trusting Milwaukee right now, laying double digits. I'm just not. ATS, they're just 2-4 in their last 6 games. You look at, they did have an impressive beatdown of Oklahoma City at home, but really other than that, they don't cover in a home win against Brooklyn, only by 7. They lose as favorites to the Lakers, an utter choke job in that game against the Lakers with a huge lead. They lose at New Orleans. They did play Atlanta pretty well, but that was a bounce-back spot. Atlanta was a little bit depleted and on a back-to-back. And then you had that utter, shitting of the bed last night against Washington. It's not a team I feel comfortable laying 12 with. I know Memphis has got basically a G League roster. They've had one all season with Bane and with Marcus Smart and obviously John Morant and so many people out. Jaren Jackson is the only player in the starting 5 for Memphis that would be in their starting lineup on opening night with a fully healthy team.
Yeah.
All these other guys, they would be nowhere close to being in the starting 5 if not for all these injuries. Santi Aldama and Gigi Jackson and Luke Kennard and fucking Scottie Pippen Jr., Scottie Pippen's kid, starting point guard. This is only because of all the injuries for Memphis. And they're a depleted to shit team. But I would still lean Memphis here. The rest advantage, I don't trust the Bucks right now as this kind of a favorite. So I lean Memphis. Don't know if I'll bet it, but if I am betting it, it's Memphis or nothing for me. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, this game is like the ultimate a little bit tricky because the Bucks are off that horrible game and a loss, but this team can't be trusted at all. I mean, no Middleton, no Lillard uh, tonight. Memphis too is kind of has had their number a little bit. Obviously, some of those guys, Giannis, have sat out. If you go, in the past, but Memphis kind of has the Bucks number, huge number. I took 13 with the Grizzlies here. I just have to do it. I think they'll give enough heart. They've had some bad blowout losses, but I don't know how much better this Bucks team, other than Giannis out there, Beverly, these guys. Are they all right? Yeah. Should they be 30-point favorites? Maybe. If Lillard and Middleton in, you feel a lot better if you want to lay it with the Bucks. And I think if you like the Bucks, you look first half. That's one place they haven't been good all year. They're shitty on the road, but only place at home first half they've been good. That's just it. Other than that, full game has been great, and that's where I've looked to them. Only at home, only first half. But at 13, I think we get to fight a little bit of rest. Bucks on a back-to-back. Maybe they win this game, but I had to grab the points.
All right. Well, this game was expected to be a heck of a game. It's taken a bit of a damper, though, with my guy from right here in the the Hamilton's finest, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not going to play for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they take on Boston. That's why the line's got on all the way up to -11 now here on Boston, 228.5 the total in this game. Don't look now. Boston 1-3 ATS their last 4 games, so they had been on a point spread tear coming out of the All-Star break. Not so much now. Jaylen Brown's a game time decision, questionable for the Celtics, but it looks like everyone else is good beyond that. Like I said, for OKC, it's Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, both out for this Thunder team here tonight in this game. Also back to back for the Thunder. They played in Philly last night without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and it was still a hell of an effort. 109-105 against the Sixers, even without SGA. But they kind of expected as they rested SGA, thinking he might be good to go tonight, but he has been ruled out. So that's now a second straight night, and this is an even tougher opponent that you got to deal with. We'll see how Oklahoma City fares, but obviously he was outstanding against the Knicks, led them to that comeback win in New York over the weekend, game-winning shot. I still think this game could go over the number, 228, even without SGA. I mean, Oklahoma City, 4 of their last 5 games have gone over. Boston, they've been an over machine, 8-2 in their last 10. You look at head-to-head this year with the Thunder and the Celtics. They played each other this year, 3 times going back to the start of last year. 248, 267, and then earlier this year in Oklahoma City, January 2nd, 250. Points. So I'm not betting a side, but I think I might still grab over 228, even without SGA. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, that total was interesting to me because I get it. And when they got played against each other, you mentioned it, these games have gone over because they're both so efficient offensively. These are almost every category, the Thunder and the Celtics, top 5 in the league. And both are pretty good defensively, too. That's the only thing. What do we get here? But I think maybe this game could get over the number. I didn't want to mess with the total. I don't know. Both these teams trying to get healthy. I don't think Brown goes with the hand. Obviously, SJ Williams out here for Oklahoma City. They played well. I was a little bit kicking myself. I liked the Sixers last night. Didn't take them. Short dogs there at home. I think it was catching 2 or 3. They went outright. These teams are just getting healthy for the playoffs. And Celtics, I get it, laying a big number. A little bit lately, you mentioned finally after going the crazy run, ATS have not covered a couple. And even first half, where they've just been the best team. And I haven't been on enough, Bobano. They've just been the best first half basketball team this year, the Celtics, by just a wide margin. Like the Pelicans have been good and have been a great bet. They look nothing. The Celtics, like when you go through the numbers, it's just you could just cash in like crazy all year long. So I think I'm just going to stay off this game in the end.
All right, Indiana, Brooklyn, Pacers, 7-point road favorites, 230.5 the total in this game. We actually just saw these two teams play at Indiana, 133-111, a beatdown for the Pacers over the Nets. Brooklyn now has lost back-to-back games by double digits. You look at their track record at home, at least on the road, they've covered a little bit. at home, it's been rough. I mean, the Lakers, they get blown out. They get lose by 13 to New Orleans. Their home ATS numbers have been dreadful lately. Indiana, I think if you look at them, they need to put some wins together. This is a very important game in the standings for Indiana based on where they are right now. Because if you actually look at where they are in the standings at this point in time, Indiana, there's still lots to play for the Indiana Pacers in terms of where they can go. If you look at where they're at the moment, Indiana is in a situation where they're in 6th right now, but they're only a half game ahead of Miami for 7th, which is a play-in spot. So they could fall to the play-in tournament if they drop to 7. But they're also just a game and a half behind both Orlando and New York, and they could move up to like the 4, 5, or 6 seed. So they could go up to probably as high as the 4th seed in the East, Indiana. But they could also fall down to the play-in tournament if they lose a few. So these are important games as far as their positioning, Indiana. So I think they come out with focus. I know they drubbed Brooklyn, and sometimes you like the revenge spot, but this is not a very good Brooklyn team right now. I think Indiana could win and cover again. So I actually like Indiana here, laying the 7. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, I'm going to stay off here. They just played. These games are tricky, these back. And the weird ones where they don't travel and they'll be in the city for a couple of days. It's just strange scheduling for the NBA has done this year in some of these. I look at, if you like the Pacers, I think you kind of go early here. I think they could jump on Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn hasn't been great. They had a couple wins, and they haven't a team. After, I think it'd been maybe once, that Bulls game, I believe that was a couple games ago. But other than that, Bobano, I've stayed away from them. And I was betting them like crazy early on in the year when they were kind of winning games and were hot. They're covering numbers before, they kind of blew everything up, trades, yada, yada. But yeah, I don't want to touch the Nets. So I don't mind the Pacers. Maybe I'd look early here, first half, if you wanted to bet it.
All right, good stuff. Next up, good matchup here, Orlando and New Orleans. Pretty good game here with these two teams, both of them over 10 games above 500. We've got New Orleans 4.5-point home favorites, 208. Now, it is a bounce-back spot for the Pelicans. They're off that 124-111 home loss to the Phoenix Suns. So they're going to want to play better here in this game, no question about that. We'll see if they're able to here against the Orlando Magic. So probably a good spot on paper for the Pelicans, but Orlando is off back-to-back wins. Orlando's been pretty good all season long as road underdogs. And if you look at head-to-head, Orlando is 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread last 4 meetings against New Orleans, including back-to-back visits to New Orleans last year. They won outright as underdogs each of their last 2 trips to New Orleans. So as much as this is a nice little spot for New Orleans after a home loss to Phoenix, and this is a good New Orleans team, it's a pretty good Orlando team too, with what we've seen from them. And they've dominated the Pelicans. 4 straight wins and covers. They're fully healthy. Brandon Ingram's still out, by the way, for New Orleans tonight. Magic are, for the most part, healthy. Jalen Suggs, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter, everyone good to go tonight in the starting 5 for the Magic. I haven't moved on this game yet, but I'm tempted to take the points with the Magic, even though this is a bounce-back spot for the Pelicans. The series history dictates Orlando matches up well with this team. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, that's where sometimes you just gotta to stay off, because I'm with you. This is the classic bounce back spot for the Pelicans, but they haven't really been the same with Ingram out. A lot on Zion, and he's come through. So if you're looking at his props, I think even like the 26.5 his points, I still think he gets there a lot better. 24.5, 25.5. He's hit that in 4 of 5 because he's got to take the shots. He's got to get to the rim, and he can with ease. And he's got to play over right around 35 minutes or more. And the Magic just been good dogs all year long. You mentioned they beat New Orleans as of late. I love both these teams when I look at unders in the NBA, but we're right about where I want to be, because this could just slide over. Just a hot shooting, you know what I mean? A couple quarters. You mentioned with an over can die with one bad shooting quarter, Bobano. Just one hot one can get this game over the number. So good one. maybe look, the classic Pelicans early have been good. It's just a lot of Zion. And, there hasn't been enough from everybody else. Jones is okay. McCollum's have to take a ton of threes. So I don't know. In the end, I kind of full game. Like, if I could get more than 4.5, 5, I was thinking the same thing. But I lean to the Magic. If I could grab those points, full game.
This one's a tricky one now. You got the Toronto Raptors and the Minnesota. Well, it's not tricky for me because there's no way I'm putting a dime on Toronto. I'll say that right now. We got Minnesota 15, 16-point home favorites, 214. For me, it's a question of, do you lay it with Minnesota or do you pass? Because you can't make a case for Toronto. You just can't. The question is, do you lay it with Minnesota? And I'm not so sure I want to. It's a big number. Last time we saw them, they were in a bounce-back spot last home game against Houston after losing to Chicago. And they didn't cover there, and they only won by 7 against the Rockets. It's a huge number. They play Phoenix on the road on Friday night. That's their next game. That's a bigger game. And then they got the Lakers after that. You know what I mean? This is kind of like, get out of here with a win. Who cares about winning by 17 or more? But I can't back the Raptors. It's a second night of back-to-back games. They got blitzed by LA at home last night, 128-111. And to think that was with Quickly and Barrett back, and they still lost by 17 points on their home court, getting those two guys back. That's a depleted to shit team. Jonte Porter with his sports betting irregularity-based suspension going on, betting on himself, betting on his fucking underprops, and then pulling himself out from the game. That's what we might have been going on with that. But Jakob Poeltl out. Kelly Olynyk is out now. He got banged up last night. Chris Boucher. RJ Barrett comes back for one game. And then tonight, they're calling it left knee injury management. No, you know what it is? It's tanking management.
Yes,
tanking management. That's what it is for RJ Barrett and the Toronto Raptors. And, of course, Scotty Barnes. That's when the season started to go completely off the cliff here for Toronto, when Scotty Barnes was ruled out for the rest of the season. And the straight up and ATS numbers for Toronto since that time have just been pathetic, awful. You just can't back them. But I don't know if this is a spot I want to lay it with Minnesota. 16 points, and they got two big games on the road coming up, Suns and Lakers. For me, pass. Ugly game. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, he just passed. Like, free bet, he gave me the thing, like, I just threw this out. I take the Raptors, the points. But this team gets blown up as they're not competitive. Like you're talking about, they're tanking, so you're kind of flipping a coin. Are they going to lose by maybe 15 or 4? It seems like
they want to bring the Toronto kid home, the Toronto Raptors, and draft him.
Hell
That's
yeah.
the target right now.
I don't blame him. Shit. Especially, I think if you get him while he's young, these big guys will see, they just have problems, especially foot problems, leg problems when you're that big. So I think you could try to get him, the first maybe 5 or 6 years would be good. Conley's out for Minnesota. You mentioned they're going on that trip in a couple days, Suns in LA. Just tricky. And you know what? You just can't go because the rosters are a little bit different. Like, Toronto's played them well the last couple of years. Like, this matchup's been solid, but it's kind of totally different. So, yeah, I can't get there. As much as I'd love to take the Raptors, I can't do it. Minnesota could win by 25.
I'll tell you what, though, the more I think about it, I remember Toronto was at, who was it? It was a month ago. I'll look. I remember it was, at Denver. And I think that was the last time they were on the road getting this many points. And they had nobody on the floor, nobody recognizable on the floor that game, the Raptors. And yet they led most of that game. And Denver was down double digits, like late third quarter. They did come back and win Denver by 6, but they didn't even get close to covering the number. Maybe it's that kind of game where it's just there's nobody. Minnesota's that asleep for the majority of the game that Toronto can somehow cover 16 and a half. So you're probably right now that I think about it. If I had to, I might even lean Raptors, but I just can't bring myself to do it with just what we've seen from them. All right, final game in the NBA tonight. Pretty good game. Cleveland and Phoenix. Phoenix Suns 5.5-point home favorites, 226.5 the total in this game. I don't know what to do with the Suns. Suns are still a little bit of a weird bunch to me. I mean, and usually off a win, I don't trust them. Great win against New Orleans, 124-111. Now they're back home. It's a Malinsky special. Rest in peace, the late, great Dave Malinsky, who one of his great trends and angles for his career, and he's said this over and over again, the home team after a 4-game or longer road trip. And that's what we have here with the Phoenix Suns coming home after a 5-game road trip. Now, they did have to play San Antonio back-to-back without travel, so that negates it a little bit. But then they went to Denver, Oklahoma City, New Orleans. Big games, too. Big games against
Mm-hmm.
really good teams, and now you're coming back home a little bit following that trip. What I like to do in these spots, C-Mac, is take the bet against the team that's coming off the road trip, like Phoenix, but I like to usually split it up. I know in hockey, I like to split it up first period and full game, because the first period, especially in hockey, for the team coming home off the road trip, that's when they're at their worst. They don't have their legs, they don't have their energy, and the other team jumps on them. Maybe we get that out of Cleveland tonight. Maybe they jump on Phoenix in this game a little bit early. So this could be a first half full game split type of game for me here with the Cleveland Cavaliers in this game getting the points. Now, the problem is Cleveland's been erratic. I won't deny that. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have had some issues for sure with consistency. There's no doubt. That being said, I think when you look at this spot here, there's enough reasons to feel compelled, I think, to like Cleveland here in this type of situation. So for me, I'm going to look at that in that direction here with a Cleveland Cavaliers in the first half full game type of split, and think that they might be able to catch Phoenix here coming off the road trip a little bit sluggish early on. So that's the approach here. C-Mac, what do you think, Cleveland and Phoenix?
Yeah, Allen looks like he's dealing with a hip. He's questionable. Carl, he's out with his toe. Is Mitchell going to play? Says he's probable. Is he going to go, Donovan Mitchell? Huh. I don't know. I gotta stay on that if he's going to go, because he hasn't been in a minute. I don't know if it matters big here. And Cleveland also has a big game. I think they're in LA, but they have a couple days off. You talked about the road trip and big game. Suns need to win, need to keep winning. And we'll see if they can keep on doing it. But yeah, I don't want to lay points to them. One thing, they've been better late in the second half and fourth quarter of games where they've kind of folded all year long. They've just been one of the worst ATS teams, especially at home. So I could no way lay points with the Suns. I'd be on the Cavs or nothing. And that might be a decent look first half. Is there a 3 first half?
Yeah, I think it's 3.5 is what I saw with the first half on Cleveland.
I don't mind that, actually, a little bit. The Cleveland first half look, I think they could get on there. Yeah, there's a couple 3.5s and still 3s. I think that's solid enough number first half.
And again, you got a team like Phoenix who's been a little late. Remember, off a win, they've not always been reliable, Phoenix. So first half, 3.5, and split it up with the full game, which you can get at 5.5, 6 is what we're looking at now.
Big one, Bobano, too, in this game. A lot of love for Phoenix coming home. All the money on then this started kind of dropping this line. Opens at 6. We're seeing it come down to even 5 at some books, and we'll see if it even goes a little more. So big tail there that I think Cleveland's live.
Yeah, but casual NBA bettors not looking at the spot like I am. This is a home game.
No.
It was off a road trip, 5-game roadie, first game home. That's long term. That's not a spot you want to be rushing to lay points unless you have a damn good reason to do so. And I don't think you have that here. Now, Cleveland, to me, I know Cleveland's been an ATS issue since the All-Star break. They haven't been great, but now we're getting points with them. And I think you get a solid effort from them here in this game tonight. They haven't played their best basketball was the first half of the season. They have not been a great team. I admit that, Cleveland, since the All-Star break. But I think you get Donovan Mitchell pumped up for this game. He'll be ready to go. He always wants to prove a point in these games against the better teams and the better players on the other side. In this case, Durant, Beal, and Booker. So from that standpoint, I think Cleveland can hang in this game, especially with Phoenix coming off the road trip there. All right, great stuff. That's the NBA card. We'll do best bets to wrap up the show in just a moment. But before we do that, first we're going to get C-Mac's opinions, what he likes on the NHL board. I ain't going to say shit because we did the Ice Guys show earlier. If you want to hear what I like in the NHL, you can watch the Ice Guys or listen to the podcast from earlier. But C-Mac, we've got a good NHL card. There are 5 pretty good games tonight in the NHL. Tampa-Toronto's a good game. Devils and Rangers is a rivalry. Oilers and Stars, which is the second TNT game tonight. That's a really good game. TNT doubleheader. as well. So a good night of hockey, even though it's only 5 games. What are you liking in the NHL on the frozen water tonight?
It's just, I mean, you gotta have to do it. I don't have any trust, and they had a couple wins, and then they just look like shit. The Devils, you have up 5 there in the third period. I know it's kind of just like public there, but I don't know how you don't go against the Rangers. And our good friend Kaka is in net, right? So not good there for the Devils.
Yeah.
I
I'm
like
on
Tampa.
over trifecta and team total over for the Rangers in that game.
I like it. Me too. I am on there. I might be on multiple bets there too. I just haven't put them in yet, so I don't want to throw it all out there. Tampa. This is great. You know what I love in this game? The Leafs, like against the Panthers. I just think the value with them, they've been some home dogs and won against, same like the Oilers. I think the value is there. And here, I just think maybe they shouldn't be favored like this. And this line's come back. I think Tampa could get them. This should be a great hockey game. I can't wait to watch. So Tampa for me, there or nothing. And the Leafs are playing great. That should be a good one too. Maybe look to live in that one there. Edmonton, Dallas. How do you not think there's going to be goals here? Dallas has looked a lot better. The blue. They've just
7
been the
goals
goal
in meetings this year. Oilers and Stars, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So. So yeah, Ottinger's been better of late. How just kind of off he was. I gotta think there's goals, and it could be low scoring. I just think both teams are too quick and so well, and get pucks to the net that gets over. And last, I kind of wanted to see Vancouver play a little bit better game, maybe have beat the Knights, but how could you be on them right now? They're just a team not playing good hockey at the worst time. They've been great all year. I think you have to take a shot here with the Yotes at home. It's kind of telling. I thought this line would be a little bit bigger. I mean, they're saying, Yotes are playing good hockey here. Vancouver's scuffling a little bit. I think the Yotes are live. I think you got to have a little something on them, right around plus 125.
Yeah, I'm off a side there. I just went with the over trifecta because I think we'll see goals there. Remember, Artur Silovs, the Latvian, is going to probably be in net for Vancouver. And while he was good against Anaheim, and they beat the Ducks in that game 3-2, let's not forget that Anaheim's not the greatest offensive team. Arizona is a better offensive team. They got lots of speed right now. Those young kids are all playing really well. They put 5 on the board against the Rangers over the weekend. If they had any defense or goaltending from Vejmelka, they might have won that game. They certainly scored enough goals to win that game, but they gave up 8 to the New York Rangers. That was the problem.
I think they get some tonight. So if you're a little bit, maybe look at their team total there, but I think they're live to win.
Yeah. There you go. Connor Mack liking maybe Arizona, their live home underdog possibly tonight against, you're right, a slumping a little bit Vancouver Canucks team. All right, we're not done just yet, actually, before we get to best bets, because look, this is going to be the last Best Bet with Bobano show for the week. We'll be back on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So what does that mean? It means this is going to be our last chance to talk. Well, first of all, before we get to Final Four for the weekend, college basketball, NIT championship game. Anything you like there? It's Indiana State, Seton Hall. Should be a really good one. Both teams have played great. They're now at the point where they both want to win it. They've gotten this far. Motivation's no longer an issue in this tournament. You get this far, you want to win it. So Indiana State, Seton Hall. My heart says I want to pull for Indiana State. This Missouri Valley mid-major team, but my head says Seton Hall's playing really good right now. And Shaheen Holloway, who knows how to win these type of games as a head coach, I don't know if I want to go against the Hall. So I probably my betting mind says Seton Hall. My heart says Indiana State. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's tough for me too, because I think Indiana State, just have a ton of fans. They're so good offensively.
Location does benefit them there at Hinkle. Yep.
I think it does big time. One thing though, they've just been so good offensively. The defense really hasn't mattered. But I think Seton Hall can have their way a little bit. Dawes, Richmond, they've really been great. I mean, they just came out of the gates against Georgia. They just slapped them across. I mean, it was 18-3 or whatever it was. They just came out. Same thing against UNLV, a UNLV team. Tough travel with them, spot there, but just beat them down as well. I've been impressed with Seton Hall. I think they can win here. I kind of like them money line, in this game. I think the game's close. So in that regard, I think if you like Indiana State, just go money line. If you like them too, I wouldn't worry. And I talk about them; they're great. I just defensively, I don't know if they can hold a lead because they do hit their free throw shots, and that's mattered. And they've covered numbers, Bobano.
Yes.
Whether that's in this NIT tournament, I've even had them once or twice. I haven't had them in all the games. But yeah, they knock down their free throws. So many guys who create shots. In that regard, because when you think of Seton Hall, they're very good defensively. But I still lean over. I think this game has to be played near the high 70s, like in that. So I lean over.
They can run. They showed it last night against Georgia. Yep.
Definitely. And they do have that better defense. That's why I like them. So all day long, I've just been sitting here wanting Seton Hall, and I think I'm going to move on it. I really like it.
There we go. All right, good stuff there. That's the NIT. All right, now that's the.
Did you have anything in it? Or are you going to say off?
I'm leaning over 2, and I'm leaning to Seton Hall. Honestly, getting 3 in. I'm a little surprised they're getting 3 in that game because I just think and I know Indiana State's really good and they got the location advantage, but Seton Hall is a dog. I'm always interested.
I'm interested. Yeah.
There's no question about that. That's kind of where I'm going. All right, Final Four. That was the appetizer. This is the main course. Final Four on Saturday. First semifinal, NC State, Purdue. Purdue 9-point favorites, 146 the total. Come on. What have Connor Mack and I been doing repeatedly here? NC State. How are we going to abandon ship now? Well, we've been through so much joy and so much financial prosperity the last few weeks, thanks to the NC State Wolfpack. We were both on them against Duke last weekend, points and money line. I'm going back to the well. Now, I get it. Zach Edey's a handful. Can't guard him. It's going to be a tough matchup. But DJ Burns is no joke right now. No slouch by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, obviously, Zach Edey's got the NBA draft pedigree, but DJ Burns is a college big right now. His play in this tournament's been incredible. You see some of the shots he's making. He's falling down on his keister and still getting the shot to go at the end of that Duke game last week. I mean, he's playing great. DJ Horn is shooting the lights out from beyond the arc right now for NC State. Morcell's stepped up. That guard that they've got too, O'Connell, he's been very good for NC State as well throughout this tournament. And the coaching of Keats, what a job he's done. He won't take a back seat to Matt Painter, even though Painter finally broke through the glass ceiling and took his team to the Final Four for the first time. To me, I don't know. They've been mispriced from the ACC tournament. This team is still being priced like the 500 team they were before the ACC tournament when they won those 5 games in 5 days and have gone on this blistering run in the tournament. I still think their power rating is closer to the mediocre 500 team. You got to act like this is a different team right now, C-Mac, because it looks that way to me. It looks like there's a completely different team now, with confidence-wise, defensively, their offensive rhythm, and their ability to fall down a little bit. Duke punched them in the mouth in the first half, and respond to adversity over and over and battle back. The battle back level of this NC State team is unbelievable. You think you finally got them on the ropes, and they respond and they get themselves back in the game, tie it up, take the lead. And then once they took the lead from Duke, they didn't look back. They dominated that second half against Duke. So bottom line is, C-Mac, it's not something I'm willing to do, lay this many points against NC State. What do you think of that first semifinal?
I know. I've been, Purdue's been able to get it done. And what makes a good team is, that's why UConn's so good, is they don't have the best shooting night and they still win. But I think UConn's on a little different level, especially their defense, about where they just suck the ball out of the air. They can just drag you in where you can't hit a shot, and they ran on that crazy run against Illinois, like 30 straight points. Yeah, I'm on NC State. I've been a little bit of, I don't know if this Purdue team's for real. I mean, everyone wants to see UConn, Purdue, and they might win NC State, to me, I think could be in this basketball game. I mean, Purdue all year long. One thing where they've been better is on the road in neutral games. And in big games, they finally made it to the Final Four. But that's always been a problem for Matt Painter for years and years and years. They're going to rely on Edey. I mean, he is it. I think he gets his. But NC State, you mentioned them being priced wrong. The biggest thing I'd love to see is the defense. Bobano. Like the offense has come through, but to hold Duke, beat them twice. Marquette to 58 points. Texas Tech, North Carolina when they beat them. North Carolina, that second half was just lost. They couldn't hit a shot. They just looked way out of it. And I think that can happen here, and they could surprise them. I got to be on it too here for the ride. And against UConn, maybe it falls apart if they could get past it. But I think they can cover. I'm on it. Yeah, we can't jump off now.
No.
I'm not jumping off.
No.
Maybe it's a little Purdue hater in me, and which really I'm not. They're a great basketball team. But I think they can hang here. So, yeah, give me the Wolfpack.
And their three-point defense, they've been holding teams below 30% on average since the beginning of the NCAA tournament. I mean, they totally turned into a different team. Burns, and like I said, with Horn and O'Connell and Morcell and Mohamed Diarra, what he's been able to do as well. He's turned it up big time the last few games. It's just the whole team is playing at a different level right now, and the point spread hasn't caught up to it. And by the way, Purdue, this year when they've been favored by 7 or more against Power 5 teams, 5-13 against the spread.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yes, they've not been great double-digit favorites. Yeah.
There you go. Put it all together, NC State for the both of us on Saturday. And then the other semifinal, Alabama, UConn, Connecticut, 12-point favorites, 160 the total, 160.5. There's just no way I'm going against. I said that before. I mean, I'm done going against UConn. I made the mistake, I think, a couple games early in the tournament, and I said that's enough of that. They're eviscerating teams left and right. San Diego State was the end of the line for me. I said it's the last time I'm doing anything in terms of fading UConn right now. And even Illinois, I talked myself out of it, and I'm like, you know what? And thankfully, it was the right call. Even in the first half, I was thinking, oh man, this Illinois team was really good. Maybe I should have taken them. And then sure enough, 30-0 run in the second half. I'm like, dodged a bullet there with that. But no, I don't trust Alabama because if they're not hitting the 3 ball, they're cooked in this game. Their goose is fucking cooked in this game if they're not hitting the 3 ball. And UConn is allowing just 30.9% this season from 3-point range. So to me, this is a matchup. I'm not convinced Mark Sears is going to go off like he did against Clemson, and that 3-point shooting is going to go off like it did. And for UConn, this is a defensive team as they've played in a very long time. This Alabama team. So good luck for Cam Spencer's going to have a field day. Tristan Newton's going to have a field day. Donovan Klingon's going to have a field day. Caravan, all those guys. They should be able to make mincemeat out of this Alabama team at the defensive end of the court. So you know what I'm going to do in this game? Because I don't know if I want to lay the 12. I think I might go team total route and go over 85.5 for UConn team total. I think they can get high 80s. I think they can get 90 in this game against Alabama. Alabama in the tournament, we've seen them give up. They've given up 87 and 96 in 2 of the 4 NCAA tournament games they've played so far. So even though they've made this run to the Final Four, it's not because of their defense. It's because they've shot the lights out, especially from 3-point range. It's not like their defense has been great. They gave up 87 to North Carolina. They gave up 96 in the first tournament game against Charleston, 82 in the win against Clemson. The only team they really shut down was Grand Canyon, and that was an ugly game. That was just a weird game right from the start with that one. But every other game, they've given up 82 or more. UConn, meanwhile, they can score into the 90s. They've shown it. They've shown the ability they can do that. And what I think of this game of? I think of St. John's in the Big East tournament. St. John's is going to plays the same way Alabama plays, fast, up and down. They're going to push the pace, and UConn can shred you offensively. Their offense can shred a team defensively when that team is going to run and gun and push the ball and push tempo. Because against St. John's in the Big East tournament, UConn scored 95 in that game, but they didn't cover, which speaks to why I think if you like UConn in this game and you're going to take UConn, Take the team total. Don't lay the points. Take the team total. And that's probably what I'm going to do. Over 85.5 for UConn. CMAC, what do you think here?
Yeah, I don't mind that play at all. The more and more this team is so dominant, I think it's defensively. And I don't know what Alabama does. They're just going to have to try to shoot threes and hope they all just go down because they're not going to be able to stop them defensively at all. And for Alabama, to get here wasn't the toughest. And some of these guys like Right Sale, I mean, he was out with his head like Pringle, Griffin. They had huge games. Estrada wasn't great. He's really their second best scorer. But of course, you need Sears, and he's been, everything. He's got to be huge in this game. He's got to probably have 30 points or around 25, 30. But I don't see it happening. I don't mind the team total. I think, when you look at this total, you think it's a little light, but UConn's defense is that. Look what they did to Illinois. The best we thought lately, offense there's been in a while. That could happen here. Just for Alabama. Even look at Alabama's team total under. I dare them to just get red hot. So I looked at that. So I don't mind your play, but Alabama team total under. Also, I think UConn just take a first half again. I think this team's that good. Caravan, they all can just Newton, like you were talking about. The way they've made other teams look, I don't know what Alabama's going to do. They got to come up with a game plan, and I hate to see it because these teams roll like without a real tough game. It's just but when you're that good, it's just they're that good right now, UConn. So that's what I'm looking at. UConn first half, looking at Alabama team total under. And I haven't really delved into the props, which probably aren't out, but I'll get into those maybe in this game.
All right, there we go. Like it. Good stuff indeed. There you have it. What a show here on Bet with Bobano. We did a little everything. That's an all sports potpourri right there that we just did. MLB
52 points, Bobano. They held Illinois. San Diego State, which had the great 52. It's like, what I mentioned? I had the 7 or whatever it was, 7.5 San Diego State. They lose by 9. I thought it was good. And then Illinois, I told I had the first half 5. It's tied with a minute 30 and then pushed. So yeah, I definitely I was trying to press it there, thinking one of those two could give at least a first half effort, not full game. And didn't really happen. So Huskies are rolling right now. Alabama better come with the game of their life.
That's what they're going to need. 100%. I agree with that. All right, best bets, Connor. We'll give one NBA best bet, one MLB best bet, and hell, I'll even let you throw out a hockey best bet if you've got one as well. But best bets, NBA, MLB, NHL, whatever you got.
MLB right here. We're going to do a prop. Freddie Freeman, RBI, plus 145. Of course, sprinkled a home run. We talked about the Jack, plus 425. But Freddie Freeman, RBI. Basketball, I talked about him on the Grizzlies, but Bogdanovich over 18.5. I think he cashes that. He's the guy. He's going to play 35 minutes. He cashes there. And I really don't have a best bet in hockey. No best bet in hockey. I really don't have a best bet.
Yeah, that's okay. You're right. It's a lighter hockey card. Nothing wrong with that. There you go. NBA, MLB best bets. All right, we'll give you one in each for me. I'm just going to go with Dodgers team total over 4.5 against the San Francisco Giants, minus 130 for my MLB best bet. NBA best bet for me, and I will not give you an NHL one. That's what the Ice Guys is for. Watch the Ice Guys for that. But my best bet for NBA tonight, there's some good choices here. I think I'm going to go with the Cleveland. I'll go first half full game split. So what I'll do is it'll be like a half. It'll be like a half a win if one of them cashes. Obviously, if both cash, it's a 2-0 sweep with best bet. So I'll give you two best bets: Cleveland first half, Cleveland full game against the Phoenix Suns. Cleveland plus 3.5 first half, Cleveland plus 6 full game against Phoenix. So there we go. Best bets for me, MLB and NBA. Connor Mack, it's been a blast. It's always fun doing shows with you. And whenever you're on Monday, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, whenever you're around, we'll get you back on the show.
Yeah, if for the most part, we'll try to make these work Monday and Wednesdays.
Sounds
good. For the future, MLB, NBA.
No doubt. All right. Awesome work as always by Connor Mack. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out and make sure you subscribe to this
Yeah,
channel. This is a new
subscribe.
YouTube channel for
Grow
me
it.
because the old one got wiped out. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at Bobano Bets. That is where this show will be Mondays and Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern time. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And as always, bet like Tony Soprano, bet with Bobano, and we will see you again next time for another edition of Bet with Bobano.